Well, thank you everyone for coming this afternoon and welcome to our 2025 annual meeting. I'm Lee Towns and I'm very honored to be the president of the Board of Trustees for the Barnstable Land Trust. Both the BLT staff and board are filled with skilled professionals who are dedicated to achieving the mission of this organization. This is a splendid and very well-run 501c3. We're in a truly incredible time for the Barnstable Land Trust. We're currently involved in 5 major land acquisitions, but remarkably, we continue to remain open to any other opportunities that may meet our preservation goals. We have decided we will not accept barriers to preserving land on the Cape. We are working to support conservation, communication, and stewardship needs regionally where that capacity is needed and requested of us. We are very proud of the community outreach, partnerships, and programming that we have developed and are so regularly offering. I have been a member of the Barnstable Land Trust since 2017, when my husband and I retired to the Cape. We didn't know anyone here and wanted to get involved in some organizations that aligned with our passions. We became land stewards. When the BLT acquires land, our mission is to take care of it forever, and we are committed to that. When we joined, John and I expected the Sisyphusian task of pulling invasives, but what we didn't anticipate was the incredible camaraderie that developed amongst the land stewards. Our vibrant team are scientists, ecologists, teachers, engineers, corporate executives, judges, and real estate agents, musicians, marketing and HR specialists, clinical researchers. Volunteerism is what allows land trusts to survive and prosper. We are so fortunate to have so many dedicated people who support our work, not only the land stewards, but board and committee members, program hosts, program leaders, and financial and office volunteers. When I joined the BLT 8 years ago, the land stewards worked 1 project a month. When Kelly Barber was hired as our Director of Land Stewardship in 2019. She initiated weekly Tuesday projects and often many additional weekday and weekend projects that allowed volunteers with different schedules many additional opportunities to help out. Under Kelly, the number of stewardship hours has increased dramatically. We have an independent Mo team led by hopefully our new board member, Bob Deo. Where's Bob? That goes to our properties on an as-needed basis to mow our grasses. In the process, they pick up litter, keep our properties looking well-maintained, and decrease tick habitat, and also meet neighbors and spread the goodwill and mission of the Land Trust. This team also maintains the equipment they use, including a gravely, several mowers, and trimmers. We also have a burn team that mid-January through end April is dedicated to safely burning the piles of weeds, brush, and limbs that we have harvested from our properties. Burning invasives eliminates the possibility that seeds from the plants will have the ability to grow and produce more invasives. At certain properties, we also strategically position the burn over plants like black swallowwort, thus eliminating, at least for a time, their ability to grow in that spot. Our Land Stewardship Committee, under the direction of the chair and Kelly Barber, oversees many details of land stewardship and volunteerism. We work to create land management plans, which are a vision for the future of each of the properties that we own. We have many exciting projects planned for the rest of this year, including creating a trail at the Wheeler Preserve that will connect with a property that we own adjacent to that, which is Fuller Farm. We will also be making the trail behind our office on Route 6A at the Polar Elk Sanctuary fully accessible. If you haven't been to this spot behind our office, it's really an amazing spot to go at dusk and see the egrets as they nest in the trees. The Barnstable Land Trust is glad to steward the land, to preserve it now and for future generations, to promote clean water and fresh air, and to provide spaces for serenity. Please consider becoming a volunteer in whatever capacity appeals to you. Attend a program, tell your friends about us, and support our forever mission. Please go out and enjoy our properties. Thank you. Now I'll turn the program over to Dick Fairbanks, who is the chair of our nominating committee.
Thank you, Lee. Yes, I'm chair of the nominating committee, or will be in a few moments, and it's my job today to present the slate of officers and new board members. We're very fortunate to have two new people coming on the board. Bob Dale. Bob, give a wave, please. And Nancy Taylor as well. Nancy, where are you? Thank you, thank you. It's special with a competition among all the nonprofits to have quality people willing to come forward and help run your company and be part of the leadership. We thank you both for making that commitment. You've done interesting things with volunteers, and we're looking forward to what comes next. Also renewing board members, Toby Collins, Karen Hanesian, we don't have it up on the board. You tricked me. Wendy Barker, Karen Daly, and Joe Hawley. At this point, I would ask you for a voice vote to accept the slate in its entirety. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. My hearing tells me the ayes have it. There aren't enough of you left. So thank you very much. Also, we're going to vote on a slate of officers, the officers that will help us run our business and be the official representatives of it. We are very pleased to have President Lee Towns repeating, Vice President Justin Laharn.
From janitorial business to Staples.
I have Treasurer Jill McCleary and Secretary Clerk Terry Karamanos. Do we have those yet? Yes, we do. Please, once again, indicate your acceptance of this slate by saying aye. Once again, not quite as loud as the first one, but I think we have all ayes. Thank you. Last but not least is the nominating committee itself, of which I will be your chair. Nominating committee's been very busy. We have two new members, as you can tell. There's some shifting around the officers, people who have done the best they can, but moving on to other things. We'll get another note on that in a moment. But once again, please, very simply, if you accept it in its entirety, please say so by saying aye. That's better. We got back there. Thank you very much. Speaking of people who are going off the board, our next person up here is leaving the board after a 9-year service. Rob Carey. Other demands in life and making a living, and those things do come along. We're very, very grateful for what he produced while we're here. Now, this is his last official act. So if you are a big fan of Bob Carey Treasury reports, pay strict attention. This is your last time. Rob, come on up, please.
You can't have a party without a banker talking about finances. Thanks, Dick. All right. So I was going to talk for just 3 or 4 minutes here, but Janet had asked me to talk for the next 45 minutes about our budget in full detail. So here it goes. No, in all seriousness, I work at the Cooperative Bank at Cape Cod. I'm in commercial lending, so I do a lot of analysis of business statements, whether it's a for-profit business or a nonprofit. And so the things I look at when I look at a nonprofit to see the viability and the health of it starts with the balance sheet. So we have a great organization here. We've got over $700,000 in cash. So liquidity is great. We have almost no leverage, a $300,000 loan at below rate. I think it was 3%, 3.5%. Thanks, Janet. That's an incredible thing. We don't give around 3% loans out on the bank. Let's see. So we've got low liquidity, low liabilities, strong equity, over $5 million. Most of that's unrestricted funds. Our income statement looks great. Now, of course, like many nonprofits, you typically lose money unless you're, raising funds for it. So the things I always look at is the expenses first and how well we're doing at maintaining those expenses. So in 2024, we met the budget that we had set for ourselves. That's really critical. And over the 9 years that we've been here, I think we've hit it on the nose every year. So that's a big round of applause to Janet for the efforts that you've done. The only other things that I would quickly highlight here, membership increased by 5% last year. That's great. That's the lifeblood, that we have here. And then we protected nearly 20 acres over, 3 different projects. And I think that's the most critical thing that we have and that we can do. You know, my joke in commercial lending is there's no silver bullet in how you get business, but business begets business. And that's the same thing here. We want to stay active and stay in the community working on these projects. So I think we do a really good job at that. With that, I will bring it over to Janet for any other questions about finance. Sure. So we got a request and I said it last year. Unfortunately, I took all of Janet's thunder last year. So it was roughly 1.7 million that we received at the end of last year, but we didn't actually receive it until this year for it. So it was actually talked about last year. Any others? With that,
Okay, thank you all. Can you hear me in the back? Okay, excellent. So I have a really fun story to tell, but it's kind of long, so get comfy. And before I do that, I want to introduce all of the wonderful people who do all this work. I would like all of our board members to raise their hands, if you would. Almost all of our board members are here. We are so grateful to them. They put in a ton of time for our organization. Our volunteers, anyone who's a volunteer with BLT, you guys rock. And our staff. So I want to just mention we're almost all here, mostly standing in the back, but Sandy and Sandra, oh, they're together. Look at that. Sandy is with operations. Sandra is the amazing graphic designer who does all of the beautiful work and the fancy Instagrams for those of you who are on social. Karen Green is our newest staff member, also in operations. So happy to have her. Kelly Barber, you all know, our incredible director of land stewardship. Madeline Little is our second newest person working with Kelsey Ellis on the development team. Kelly Grant is you either have to be named Sandy or Kelly to work for us. Our director of land conservation. Margot Dran is our AmeriCorps service member this year. Did I miss anyone? Oh, Sue and Chris. Sue is outside, Sue Sullivan, who makes everything happen, and Chris Paw, who is our wonderful development associate. They are amazing. They are energetic. They are hardworking. They are creative. And all of what you're going to hear about happens because of them. So thank you all. So as you can see, we have grown our capacity. We have done it slowly and intentionally. We have done that to be able to do more work on conservation and stewardship and programming and education. And I'm going to share a little bit of the story for each of these. Normally, I would start with land conservation, but I want to build on what Lee said about stewardship this time. Our stewardship work is growing even more than you would expect from our land conservation work. So every time we get a new parcel, we have new neighbors and abutters to deal with. We have a different conservation scenario to deal with. We have a history of the land to deal with. And our conservation restrictions even are getting more complicated. As of last year, we have a CR in about a 60-acre bog. And the bog is going through a major restoration, and that requires a lot of interesting conservation restoration work. Conservation restriction work. So We have climate change impacts. We have new insects. We have new pests. We have the southern pine beetle. We have beech leaf disease. Under Kelly's leadership, we have this incredible land stewardship team, which Lee described, so I won't go into that anymore, other than to show you this really cool video of a burn team activity, which now I know you guys are all going to want to do. That's how they spend their winters. It's really amazing. We have a huge need for more stewardship, even as our conservation land grows, and we need more volunteers. So if you have any interest at all, there's lots of folks here who could tell you how much fun it is. And as we conserve more land, we aim to make it more accessible. And Lee mentioned the 3 trails that we're should have available by the end of this year, right, Kelly? Fuller Farm to the Wheeler property, the Santuit Trail on our new Santuit Woodlands property in Katuitt, and then our first all-access trail behind our office at the Polgar Elk Sanctuary has gone through permitting, and so it's going to happen. So that is very exciting. Another direction that we have taken is community stewardship. So we have worked to grow our impact by providing services for our partners who need additional capacity at the federal, state, and local government levels and with our peer organizations. For example, municipal water departments are required to have plans to deal with fire risk reduction, to document rare species, and we're helping them do all of that. So what you see here is this gross picture up in the right corner is evidence of the southern pine beetle. So we're helping with a federal study on southern pine beetle infestation. We have a great relationship with AmeriCorps, so we can pull together groups and do AmeriCorps service projects. We've done them for our own properties, and we'll also have the capacity to do them in other places. We're working on a prescribed fire planning project with the State Fish and Wildlife Agency. And so in year 2 of this effort, we have found that this kind of work is helping improve stewardship even off of our properties in our town, in our peer organizations properties. It helps us build relationships, brings in revenue for us, helps us share our staff expertise, supports staff retention, and engages more volunteers. So it's a really wonderful direction, all made possible because of our Director of Land Stewardship's leadership and skills and experience background. Another new movement in the land conservation field is around building relationships with Indigenous communities. This started in Maine and the West Coast and has come down to Massachusetts. We were involved in starting the first or putting together a group of land conservation groups to start learning about how to be better partners with our Indigenous community nearby. So this is a picture of a visit that staff and board took to Plymouth Patuxent to do learning about our history and the history of our Indigenous neighbors over the last 10,000 years. We have a board task force that is looking for ways to provide better access for Indigenous cultural practices and ceremony on BLT lands, and to work more closely with the Native Land Conservancy and the Wampanoag tribe on future conservation projects. So we're very excited about this. Sue and Sandra have helped us meet our responsibility to make sure that our community knows about our lands and our work and feels very welcome on our properties. So they have put together programs to reach families through our first day hikes. I think we had 200 people on January 1st at Fuller Farm, which was a record for us. So families, schools, and after schools, we are in every level of the schools. We are at 4Cs here with the college, at the high schools through community service programs, middle school through after school programs, and in the elementary school as well. 3 or 4 years ago, we were not in the schools, and we heard it suggested every meeting that we had, and it's really amazing how far Sue and Sandra have brought us in the last few years. And we are a 4-season program operation. So this summer you saw us kicking off field games with the Katuitt Library, bringing endangered animals into our office to have kids handle snakes and things. Lots of programs with bookstores and libraries, and also with community groups. So homeschool programs, petaliers, adult day programs. We will partner with anybody. And it's been a really, really helpful thing for us because it has really introduced us to new audiences and connected us with new people. We have done or will do 120 programs. We've already reached thousands of people this year, more than we have in maybe the last 2 years together. Repeating popular programs like our monthly volunteers, Fuller Farm Fridays, Weeding Wednesdays, monthly beach cleanups, the ever popular Birding with Tommy Burgess. And now we have some traditions at BLT. We have first day hikes, we have Earth Month, we have Hike Barnstable, and we played a leadership role in launching and expanding a new Cape-wide calendar. So you can now go on our website or any land trust website on the Cape and learn about programs all over the Cape, which is really amazing. So all of this has built our connection to the community. This is a sample of our partners that we have been building relationships with. It has helped us introduce our mission to new audiences, increased our base of support, opened up new funding opportunities, and helped us to diversify the kinds of programs that we offer, whether they're environmental or governmental or local businesses or community organizations or schools. So if you know of an organization that you don't see up here, give Sue a call, and we'd be very happy to partner with them. We also are continuing to build relationships with our local and state elected officials. And thank you to, I know Paula Schnepp and Chris Clark were here. Thank you for coming. And anyone I missed? Okay. It's really, really important that we have those relationships, not only for the local town of Barnstable, but also we get so much funding for every land project from state grants and from state incentives that make it easier for a landowner to work with us. So these are incredibly important, and we are trying to work to build those so that when we call them, we're not always asking them for something, but maybe thanking them for something that they supported. So now on to land conservation. So last year at this time, we had just closed on the Wheeler property, 10 acres on Middle Pond in Marston's Mills. And it was our first experience buying a property with a house on it. And the idea was to rent it to be able to support some of the younger folks on the Cape who needed a place to live in order to be able to survive in the nonprofit world. And I'm happy to report now that we have 4 young conservation professionals living there. They've been there for a year. They're about to renew their lease. And it's all working out very well. And it's a way for us to support not only our own staff person who lives there, but 3 others who work for 3 other conservation organizations. So yeah. The project I get more questions about than any other is the Twin Books project. And so I just wanted to tell everyone that we continue to be involved in the project. The new owners are the Riverview School. They bought it last year. They have bought both the golf course and the conference center. So not the entire property, but a big chunk of it. And they are committed to some public open space in the back and to working with us to make that happen. And they have a pretty cool vision for it, which I think we'll see play out over the next couple of years. So we're excited that that what's going to be implemented there will be really an asset to the community in a lot of different ways, not just environmental. So we have an interesting story to tell this year around new land conservation projects. You'll remember that our goal has been, as an organization, to be able to say yes to any good project and to invest in our capacity to be able to do that. And last fall, we found ourselves kind of at a threshold point because we had a number of projects come to fruition all at once. So one had been in the works for 10 years, suddenly came out of probate court. Thanks to Tommy for giving me a call and saying, have you checked on this project lately? Because we did, and it was ready. Another went through a year-long negotiation process that didn't have a clear resolution until it did, all of a sudden. So instead of having to raise $1 or $2 million for 1 or 2 projects, we were looking at raising $7 million for 5 conservation projects. We did a feasibility study to see if we could reasonably raise that much money in just a couple of years. And the answer was yes. So now result is you're going to hear about 5 projects. One actually was just completed. And I'll tell you a little bit about each one. So the Woodland Bog project is in West Barnstable. The Mill Pond Preserve is in Marston's Mills. And the other 3 projects are in Katuitt. So let's see, the Santuit Woodlands project is the one that is finished. Thank you to Mark Robinson, who I think is here. And the compact, which helped us close on it. It was a very kind of short-term, quick closing that we had to respond to. And by having the compact pre-acquire it and also give us a loan to help pay for it, we were able to close in time and be able to apply for a state grant, which we were successful in getting. So this is a 6-acre property in Zone 2, protecting the Katuitt well fields, and was really important to the Katuitt Water District, which was also a partner on this project. Also abutting a 6-acre property that BLT already owned on Santuit Newtown Road. So now we have a lovely 12-acre parcel that is one of the locations of a new trail that should be happening this fall or winter. The next project is a super exciting one and a new one for BLT. It's an example of a project, the kind of project that we've been talking about for a while and now have the opportunity to implement. And those are what we call perceived open spaces. So land that people think might be protected already, but in fact isn't. So the High Ground Golf Course has been around as a golf course owned, I think, by the same family for about 75 years. And a golf course before that as well. It is a community gem. It is the place where so many of Katuitt and neighbors, younger generations learn to play golf. It's where everybody sleds in the winter. And it has a clubhouse that is the location of a lot of good times in the neighborhood. So when the family was ready to sell this, it was really clear that the community wanted BLT to protect it. But the question was, would it stay a golf course? And the answer is yes, at least for now. So the terms of the agreement included a 5-year lease. So the family will still be involved in running it as a golf course. BLT will ensure that it is protected forever. And a community gem will stay in the community forever. It will not become a 5-unit housing development. Once it is no longer a golf course, it may become a park. The clubhouse may become a nature center, but we have some time to figure all of that out. So this is really exciting. Another similar project, the biggest pieces of land that are left undeveloped now are things like golf courses and bogs and farms. And so this is another example of a project that could have been developed, but people perceive as protected forever. So we were very happy to have get this bog under agreement. It's 25 acres in West Barnstable. It is adjacent to hundreds of acres of town conservation land and BLT land, and hydrologically connected to Bridge Creek Conservation Area and the Barnstable Great Marsh, which is one of the most important ecosystems on Cape Cod. So really wonderful project, and it will remain undeveloped. How and whether we restore it is yet to be determined. After we buy it, we will do a study once we own it and figure out what the best restoration options are. But in any case, there will be a walking trail around it that anyone will be open to the public forever. So that's number 2. Number 3 is we're calling Captain's Woods, the old Montero property. This is the one that was for sale for $500,000 when I walked in the door at BLT 8.5 years ago. And now we're protecting half of it for $1.36 million. The other half, this was another really great project that we were able to put together with the partnership with the town. So BLT was able to get it under agreement very quickly once I got the call from Tommy, and with the help of Karen Hanesian. And the town actually bought it and will use half of it for a cemetery for an expansion of Mosswood and half of it for open space. And this, you can see from the map, this is sort of a missing puzzle piece connecting hundreds of acres of open space, including water department land, cemetery land, Lowell Park at the bottom there, and then Bell Farm across the street and Eagle Pond Sanctuary. So another great Katuitt project. And then last but not least, Mill Pond Preserve, which is the last big parcel on Mill Pond and Marston's Mills. Really important rare species habitat. Zone 2 protecting the calm water district, well fields, and also on one of the most nutrient impacted waterways and ponds in the town, the Marston's Mills River and the Mill Pond there. So This was an incredibly important parcel. We're really, really grateful that we could be able to protect it. And again, it connects with hundreds of acres of open space, and there are trails on the adjacent land. There will be trails on this land. There will be a small parking area, and it'll be a wonderful expansion of recreational open space. So how are we going to pay for all of this? As you can tell by now, this is not really business as usual for Barnstable Land Trust. We are trying to be ambitious. We are trying to respond to the community needs. And so we have launched a $10 million campaign to help us protect these open spaces. And this campaign is going to have 3 objectives. One is use 7 million of it to buy these parcels that I just described. And I meant to say, well, I'll say that later. 7 million for land, 1 million for stewardship. As we've been talking about endlessly tonight, we don't just protect the land and leave it there. There's a lot of work to help improve the conservation of the value of the land once we own it. So $1 million for land stewardship investment, and then $2 million for an endowment to protect our ability to act when the need arises, and to ensure that our work continues for generations to come. So the money will come from both public and private sources. About 43% from public funding, and the rest of it from private foundations and individuals. So as of today, I was gonna say we are about $85,000 short of halfway. So we're at about 4.9 million. Actually, we are, as of tonight, we are $75,000 short because of a generous person who is in the audience. So we're halfway there. We just started in January. So we have a lot of momentum, and we started very quietly. We are in what's called the quiet phase. As insiders, you all are hearing about it before anyone else. We will go public probably when we're 75 to 80% of the way there. So probably not until next winter or spring. And this stage is just a lot of individual conversations and small group gatherings to cultivate folks and continue to attract the larger gifts that we need to make progress fast. So I am asking you all to play a particular role in this campaign because you are here at this meeting and you care so much about what we do. So I am asking you to share your story with others, why you're involved, why this work is so important to you. Share the land project details with your friends, with your family, with your neighbors, why you love clean water, why you love the Cape so much, because your voices are the most powerful tools that we have. You know, I'm also asking you for money if, you know, if and when you're ready, but even more than that is to help us get the word out. You are our most stalwart, most important, most appreciated community. And without you, really, none of this happens. So Kelsey and Madeline are our Crackerjack development team. And if you have questions about the campaign, they're the ones to ask or me. But it's very exciting. We are really, really ready, we think, to take this big step and really look forward to working with all of you to make it happen. So that is the end of my part of the storytelling. We have found 2 awards to give out to, but before we do that, I thought I would see if there's any questions from the Zoomers or, yes, here. Well, we've given ourselves 12 to 18 months. So we're hoping, you know, by the end of next year to be complete. The closings have to happen within a year. So one project is closing in October, so we got to raise a chunk by October. That's the first one. And then that's high ground. And then the others end of the year or first half of next year. Thanks for asking that. It's quick. Yeah, we're doing really well so far. Yeah. Yeah, any other questions? Okay. I am now going to grab my other notes and move on. Okay. Really fun part. Every year we give away, give an award to an individual for having the vision to lead and empower the people of Barnstable to preserve the essence of Cape Cod, its open spaces, natural resources, wetlands, woodlands, and wildlife. And I'm very honored to recognize Gretchen Auget Riley as the recipient of this year's Founders Award. And while I wish that we could have given her this recognition while she was here with us, we are so happy that our friends and family are here for the ceremony. Gretchen was a leader in many areas. She was one of our biggest supporters over 3 decades, but she was very behind the scenes. So being able to acknowledge her contribution is incredibly meaningful. In this work, we rely on people to be there for us, who know us, who understand us, and who are in the boat with us, and she was one of those people. She supported BLT in so many ways, and her gifts were often the catalyst, the foundational support to kick off a land project or a campaign. She held a fundraiser at her house for the Cordwood Project many years ago, graciously opening up her house to help educate people in the community about the project. She always came to our Gifts from the Sea galas. She was a generous bidder. She was a leader in cleaning up the Phragmites at Rushy Marsh Pond in Katuitt when the inlet closed and the ecosystem changed there. She generously supported our land projects, Lowell Park, the stewardship fund that allowed us to become the recipients of the Mary Barton Land Trust land. And she was a foundational supporter of our new office on 6A. She also was incredibly understanding of the need to support our operating budget. She was my first ask and first contributor to our For Now and Forever campaign when it was launched in January. So over the years, many of us developed relationships with Gretchen. She was so gracious and helpful and understanding that it was really comfortable to reach out to her. And she was very comfortable reaching out to us when she had an idea. So about 5 years ago, she emailed me and asked if we'd ever thought about creating a trail map. And she said she thought it could be a really great tool for outreach and visibility, as well as getting people on the trails. And we thought it was a fantastic idea. And so we made a plan and a budget, and she saw us through. So today we've printed almost 50,000 maps. including one version in Portuguese. We're constantly getting requests from libraries and visitor centers to replenish them. And thanks to a Boy Scout project and a dedicated volunteer, those maps are now constantly stocked at 7 BLT trailhead kiosks. We give them out at every program. We mail them to every new member. So there is no doubt that her spirit lives on in tens of thousands of people who have discovered special places in nature thanks to her vision. And all of these things were just her support for BLT. She had a deep love for Cotuit. She was a major leader in the Cahoon Museum and supported many other Cotuit institutions, as well as her alma mater, Middlebury College. So although Gretchen is no longer with us, her legacy lives on, not just in the work she helped us accomplish, but in the countless others she helped motivate to help carry that work forward, in believing that nature is worth protecting and that every one of us has a role to play. We are proud to honor her with this award and to continue walking the path that she helped blaze, one that leads us toward a more sustainable and more respectful relationship with the world around us, for now and forever. Gretchen's daughter, Taylor Joyce, is here to accept the award.
Instead of picturing you all naked, I've just lifted my glasses up. And your faces are blurry, so that works for me. My mom's devotion to family, friends, and philanthropy ran deep. I once got her a pillow that said, "Stop me from volunteering." My mom sat on many boards and volunteered endlessly. Being involved filled her heart, and she was an asset with her ideas and her passion. I am grateful and honored to speak on her behalf, and thank you for recognizing my mom. Thank you, Gretchen Riley. Preservation of the land and the environment meant a lot to my mom, and as you have heard from Janet, I hope to continue filling her shoes, and it's important to me as well. So thanks, everybody.
And now I'd like Lee to present the next award.
Oh, thank you. I am so pleased to award Rob Carey with our Barnstable Land Trust President's Award this afternoon. Rob joined the board in 2016 and immediately stepped on to take on leadership roles. Respecting his expertise as a banker, he was asked to join the Finance Committee and soon thereafter became chair of the committee, as well as treasurer of the board. And so it goes, huh, Rob? His pragmatic, business-oriented approach helped shape and strengthen BLT's fiscal practices, building our integrity and enabling donors to feel confident about BLT's sustainability. Rob supported our growth mindset and was open to learning along with the organization about the kinds of risks that land trusts make to do our work and how to manage those risks. He often expressed a fiscally conservative approach, appropriate for his profession, and a helpful reminder for the board that we may need to make our funds sustainable in perpetuity. Rob also served on the Land Protection Committee. He found that work so interesting that he agreed to chair the committee once he stepped down as treasurer. He enjoyed visiting potential properties with board and land trust staff, often with a small child in tow. Rob established a great deal of credibility on the board and with the understanding of both BLT's finances and land deals, he was able to communicate clearly why a project should or should not go forward and the risks involved in that decision. In his banker's role, he went to many events, which were opportunities for him to introduce and speak about BLT and why he loved being involved. We're so grateful for Rob's energy and leadership and amazed that he contributed so much to our evolving organization while he was also growing his career and his family. With our sincere thanks to you, Rob, for your many contributions to the organization these years.
Oh, there's nothing so wonderful as looking at a life-size picture of yourself. I joined the board 9 years ago, and truth be told, I knew nothing about BLT. I thought it was a sandwich. So anyways, it was interesting. I grew up in Camaquid, and a couple of the properties that were protected on Bone Hill Road, which some of you may know, were protected by BLT, and I had never known about it. And a lot can happen in 9 years. I actually joined the board. I'm not sure. I know I wasn't married. I don't think I even owned a house. I'd moved from California for a career change. And now I have a wife, 3 kids, and a big fat mortgage. So anyways, but it's interesting. BLT has come a long way in those 9 years as well. I mean, it's a wonderful organization. But if you think about where it was 9 years ago, and I have nothing to take as credit for this, just so that we're all clear on that. But when we started, we didn't have any land that had any improvements on it, any property at all. It's unbelievable. So now we all moved from that Hyannis shanty to a much more wonderful place just down the street, which is much more fitting for us. We are landlords. That's very interesting. And I can tell you, I fought all of these kicking and screaming, and I was wrong. It's unbelievable the opportunities that we have created from these. And the most recent with the Twin Brooks. I thought to myself, boy, that was a lot of risk for us. How many times did we get in the paper, front page of the paper? Great opportunities to be there. So I just think looking forward, I'm not going far. I'm here. I got to tend to the work and the family stuff, and I'm not too far away. But I just say it's a wonderful organization. I'm really proud to be part of it, have been part of it, and look forward to the success going forward for everything. So thank you very much.
I don't know what we're going to do without you, Rob. But I'm excited about our 2 new board members and excited about what we're all going to do together. So think about it. Call me, call Kelsey, call Kelly, call any one of us. Let us know how we can work together to keep our wonderful Cape Cod beautiful and healthy. And thank you all for being here tonight.